All right, everybody, we're here doing a review of Us. We're doing this live on SuperHouseLive and also on the podcast. This is Andrew coming at you, and we also got Maddie here with you. Let me get you on the cam here, bro. There we go.
Okay, hi.
Wow, you're very clear.
I got this badass webcam now.
Holy shit, you look...
See my pores and shit on my pimples, my blackheads.
You're looking mighty fine today, boy.
Oh, I showered for the podcast.
Oh, man. All right, so we're going to fucking review Us, so let's get right the fuck into it. What'd you think, Manny? Just fucking straight up.
Okay, so I really enjoyed this movie, but I have the thing that when I go into a Jordan Peele horror movie, I want him to break the fucking mold. And he doesn't do it, but he makes damn fine movies. And every time I'm in one, I feel like I'm a little let down, even though it's like I love the journey through it. But he's not really breaking the mold of anything. Like, it's stuff I've seen before. I mean, he definitely has his own spin on it. But, you know, I expect it to be a little scarier maybe, or just show me something, you know, that hasn't been done before. But he never does it. But he makes solid fucking movies. So it's like I constantly wrestle with, even with Get Out, like, I get the, like, I get what he's doing, and with like the commentary on society and all that stuff is great. It's just, for me, as being like a horror fan, I go to horror movies to be scared or, you know, shown something I haven't seen before. So I wrestle with his movies constantly, just because they're good, they're well done, acting's great, music, fucking his concepts are cool. It's just like, but it's been done, you know? But I did enjoy it.
You're saying Doppelganger Family has been done before?
I'm just saying, like, Doppelganger, fighting yourself, a different version of yourself. I mean, it's repeat shit. You've read about it for years. You've seen movies about it. You've read comics about it, dude. It's just like, it's nothing that different. And even the twist in this movie was like, I saw it coming.
Oh, yeah, I did too. As soon as they bring the girl back and they're like, oh, she's not herself, she's not talking, I was like, that's like, you know, 45 minutes into the movie, like at the halfway point, I called that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. I was like, oh, they switched spots. And I was like, I'm ready. But I was ready for the journey, you know, because I didn't go for... I kind of, like, not from the trailer did I know what I was getting into, but like you said, at that point, I was like, all right, I know this turn is going to happen at some point, but I'm ready for the journey, you know?
Right.
Because I think he's such a great storyteller. It's like, even if he gives you the information up front, it's like, but where does it go, you know? And I thought that journey was very fun, but like I said, it wasn't breaking the mold. You know, he wasn't trying to keep it secret till the very end. But that's what I want from him. I want him to just be like, holy shit, dude. That's a crazy cool concept. Like, the last movie I saw that I was like, oh, this is crazy, man. I don't even know what this thing is or what it does, what its rules are, which with Us, I don't know what the rules are for the doppelgangers necessarily, because I have some questions. But It Follows was one that I was like, whoa, this is kind of a cool original concept. Like, yeah, it plays homage to a lot of stuff, but you've never seen like an invisible creature could change its shape, you know, change into like tall people to small people, and like it's very original. And I feel like that's what I need. That's what I always want when I go into a Jordan Peele film. But I don't get it. But I get a good film, a great film. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm articulating this correctly, but I did enjoy it. So we can move on.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I will say it's not as... I didn't like it quite as much as Get Out, because that was like kind of like a special movie for me, maybe. I don't know. Like, I had a really great time in the theater when I saw that, and like it was kind of fresh to me. And I kind of feel like Jordan Peele has evolved a lot as a filmmaker. Like, there's a lot more layers to this one. He's got like this... I mean, dude, I watched like a bunch of videos on this fucking movie afterwards, and like people were breaking down the fucking symbolism and all of that shit. And like, I think probably there was a lot more of that going on in this than in Get Out. But I don't know. My gut reaction is that it's just not quite as good as Get Out. And when I was leaving the theater, I literally heard some dude go, huh, "So much better than Get Out," So I thought that was kind of funny, but I thought maybe I was like a minority thinking that it was that Get Out was better, but maybe I'm not. Um, but I mean, the cinematography was fucking excellent. The direction was great. I felt like the voice that she does was it kind of like almost silly to me at first, but then I don't know, it was like almost comedic, and there's a lot of the comedy in the movie really lands for me every time. Like Peel is hilarious. So I don't know. And then what were the other minuses? Not a whole lot really. It's just it's hard to pinpoint. It's still just been a week for me, so it's been a while. But yeah. What did you think of like the parallel imagery? Were you able to catch a lot of that as far as like the Black Flag shirts and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I caught all like the references, like when they're zooming in on the Hands Across America thing, and there's like all those films on the side of the television, like Chud was there, and it's like, oh, cool. So we're gonna deal with underground stuff. So I know I'm going underground at some point. I feel like some.
Oh, hold on. We got. Sorry about that, Maddie. Holy crap! Can you hear me, dude?
Oh yeah, what's up, man?
I meant to. I cut off Maddie. I don't know how to add people. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to add Maddie to this. Add Maddie to the call, real quick. Hopefully this will work. We're still figuring out all this technology, guys. Maddie was like in the middle of talking.
Oh damn.
Oh my god. 2 of 3 in the call. Come on, Maddie. You were just here. Just click answer.
Is it just me, you, and Maddie?
Yeah. It says it's calling Maddie. Oh my god, bro.
I don't even have like the chat window anymore. Okay, now Skype is just weird. I see it.
Here we go.
What's
Maddie
that?
joined. Sorry, man. I tried. I clicked. I don't know why it doesn't just add Jared to it. It just drives me crazy. All right. Well, we're still live, and we've welcomed Jared onto this discussion.
What's up? I was just reading some shit about it.
Okay.
The fan theories are helpful. I'll say.
Jared, we'll get to you in a second, but we literally cut Maddie off in the middle of his sentence. What were you saying again, Maddie?
Just about the beginning of the film when they like go in on the VHS tapes.
Right.
Just like there's like Chuds there and some other stuff like the Man with the Screamers, the Goonies. And I feel like this is kind of references to like the journey you're about to take, or at least some of the inspiration behind the making of Us. Because I mean, we do Underground, and Chud is about humanoid underground dwellers. So it was kind of cool to see that, like, maybe it's a little nod to like, hey, listen, I'm not going to make a campy movie, but I enjoy the camp. And I think it sets it up for like the comedic tone throughout it too. Like you kind of know what you're getting ready to get into. Yeah, I mean, I saw like the Black Flag shirt, and I feel like all this stuff for a lot of it is just like maybe stuff Jordan Peele's into, just to show like, yeah, man, that Black Flag album's fucking sick, dude.
All right, so I looked into that because that really stuck out to me, and I don't know if there's any more reason for it than this. The Black Flag logo has 4 bars on it, okay, and it's syncing up with the 1111 imagery, and basically I think that's it. Unless there's a song or something Henry Rollins has said or some shit like that made Jordan Peele like that.
I thought that like some of those references also might have been to kind of like date the flashbacks to a certain time in the 80s.
It's possible, but they wear it again in the modern era, but the colors are switched. In the 80s one, it's black on white, and then the modern one, it's white on black. And so...
Well, the guy's also wearing the Black Flag shirt with the one cover. It's the blue cover with the guy holding the knife. So there's several Black Flag shirts in the movie then.
I really think it's mainly it's A, to show the time period, and B, it's that duality. It's a lot like the movie is essentially about duality and privilege, as far as what I can tell. Maybe there's more to it than that, but from what I gather. Anyway, Jared, your thoughts on this movie?
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Get Out, which I think I kind of wasn't expecting to like it as much as Get Out, because Get Out is just such like a phenomenal movie. I guess as a movie that needs to be rewatched and kind of studied to be understood, I kind of do think that it's like a good version of that, because at least like at the end of the rabbit hole there is some kind of commentary or something. Like I was just reading this like theory about it that was saying that the Adelaide that you meet the whole movie, like the one that you think is really the mom, is not the mom.
It's not.
And that it was like pretty much like she made it to the surface and like met that dude, had a family with him, and that like the real like version was like down there the whole time.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's the twist.
Like, I don't get then like how
the tethering works. Yes.
Yeah, or like how like
why is the one who like her shadow is dancing, so therefore she would be like, is your tethered switched when you're brought down there? There's no rules to this movie, which is like there are rules in horror.
Frustrated me about it.
Yeah, so like Get Out's pretty solid because you've seen this movie, you know the rules, you know how to. But this one's different. He set up a whole new like a whole universe, but didn't really explain how your shadow or the tethering thing works.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, then how did? Because like I don't understand, like if she was down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's down there, and then she when she's down there as like a failed experiment as a doppelganger, that experiment has already failed. That experiment is already over. So if she switches with the real Adelaide and makes it to the surface, and then has a family with this person who she had never met before, then how are there doppelgangers of her kids down there if the experiment was stopped? They're doppelgangers for her two kids. Like that didn't really make sense to me. If Adelaide was down there the entire time, he never would have been able to actually meet anybody. And even though like the doppelganger Adelaide on the surface is the one who got pregnant, like there's just like a lot of loose ends like that kind of like gave me like trouble kind of like understanding. And it's like I get like the commentary that's being made about kind of like being liable for privilege even if you weren't a part of like the original atrocity, kind of like if you're walking around with an iPhone, you're somewhat culpable with these child mines and these like wars being fought over minerals in Africa, and with these like Chinese kids dying in like iPhone factories, you're somewhat culpable if you're using an Apple product. And it's like I get that aspect of it, but like the rules are the only things that have me like scratching my head.
You mean as far as like their souls are tethered to one another? Like how does the boy control the other boy? Shit like that?
How does the boy even exist? How does he even exist if the experiment stopped? If the experiment stopped, that means they're not making any new doppelgangers. So if the experiment stopped, then how are there doppelgangers that look exactly like the boy and the girl?
I got it. Life finds a way.
Yeah, you were talking about the rules of this, and I was kind of wondering, like, so at the end, the young boy was able to sort of walk backwards, and his doppelganger was able to do the same thing. And when the father's doppelganger like messed with his glasses, the doppelganger tried to do the same thing, but he didn't have glasses to like do anything with. So at what point are they able to mimic and not mimic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but to me, it's just like a loose end. And I mean, I feel like Jordan Peele needs to release like a prequel novel or something just to like explain what the fuck how this world works.
He says in an interview that he had he has like a pretty extended mythology for this whole thing. But he said the challenge was what to tell and what not to tell, what makes it scarier when it's more ambiguous, things like that. So I thought, I mean, there could be more to it. So
to me, it's like
what was the main plot hole there, Jared? Sorry, the stream was kind of going in and out on my end.
Like the fact, like for me, like the plot hole, and this is the plot hole after reading, like the kind of analysis to get a better picture of what actually was like supposedly going on. The glaring plot hole that's left for me is like, if the one on the surface having the kids is a doppelganger who was originally a doppelganger made of the little girl in the 80s or in the 70s or like whatever time, it would have had to be made, then I don't understand how then, like, I could get that there would be a doppelganger for her and a doppelganger for, like the guy that she would eventually marry, maybe even doppelgangers for her parents. But what I don't understand is how is there a doppelganger for her kids if by the time she met that dude, married him, and had the kids, the failed project experiment already would have been over. So it's like, is there like a machine down there that they didn't turn off that's just like, farting out like doppelgangers for everyone who has a kid? Or
I wonder, because she calls herself a shadow when they first meet in the house. There's that conversation. It was like, you're my shadow, we're each other's shadow. I'm wondering if like something just exists. There's just going to be another one now. Because, I mean, that fucking bunker, that basement, where the fuck we ended up towards the end of that movie is fucking huge.
It is,
and it has a doppelganger for everyone that exists. So I don't know. I mean, I'm with you on that, Jared. I'm just trying to rationalize it a little bit, but then part of me is like, I don't know, fuck it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if a baby was born like after the events of this movie, would that baby also have a doppelganger down there squirming around? Like, that's my question.
And like Maddie, you mentioned the shadow. So if on the up top, if somebody gives birth, does the one below automatically just become pregnant?
But they seem to be mimicking their movements. They're mimicking their movements from the top and the bottom. So it's like
right. But here's the deal: DNA. They can't. DNA is something that you can't really duplicate like that. I think is what Jared's trying to get to. Is like they might have a son, but he might not look exactly like that son. Might have a daughter, probably not gonna look like that daughter.
I don't know how they would have.
I'd have the son first, daughter second.
Like I thought that like their bodies were just controlled, kind of like tethered in movement only. Like I didn't realize that it's like, because then at that point I feel like you're getting into like dimensions and portals, and like, kind of like the Upside Down in Stranger Things or some shit like that, like.
I don't know if it went quite that far. I mean, maybe that's part of its extended mythology, but I'm not sure I would go that far just yet.
Because if, like, Doppelganger Adelaide is on the surface fucking and she gets pregnant and has a kid, I don't understand how then that gets normal Adelaide pregnant. Like, I don't understand, like, what this tethering, like, I don't understand, like, what it actually means, and I don't understand, like, what the rules of it and the science of it is, like, in the world.
I was also trying to wrap my head around that for a couple of days now, and part of me just went, fuck it, man, it's a movie. And it's a horror movie, so there is some fantastical element, and I think at some point you just got to give it up to the fantastical. Like, just within this world where there are doppelgangers and tethered people, this is how it works. And I mean, that's not a really good excuse for it, but I've seen horror films from back in the day. Sometimes it's just like, all right, it happens that way. Let's move on.
Thing. It's just see, I feel like the human in me is just like, I like crave for there, even if it's a fake system, I crave for there to be some kind of rule set that makes sense. Like
I
some
totally
kind
get
of, like,
especially from like, Jordan Peele. It's like, come on, man, you can write this.
Yeah, and like especially after, because Get Out was so thorough.
Mm-hmm.
This felt kind of open ended for me, which kind of made me feel like, unless there's going to be an Us 2, where did you leave us?
Also, one other question I have. So when we end the movie, there's the Hands Across America thing, which is their big plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering. I was thinking after the movie, I was like, so is that it? They just hold hands till they all like perish, because they have to eat rabbits and flesh to survive. So like that was the plan,
I
to
was
just hold
reading.
hands and
I
then
think
die?
it's like a symbolic gesture because there in the
Well, yeah,
real
but
Hands
it's
Across
like-
America there was a lot of gaps, and there's no gaps in this one. It's like the lower class
But
has
there
come
is
to
a gap. There's 4 gaps.
they've come to
because-
claim
Well,
they've come to
people
claim the upper world, and it's like a kind of like a class revolution kind of
I
thing is
get
what he's
that.
trying to say.
It's
I
also
get
like
that,
a
I
commentary on how like the real Hands Across America kind of like fell prey to the non-profit industrial complex, and that it raised $34 million to supposedly feed and house the homeless, and was only able to allocate less than half of that money due to overheads to actually give to these charities. And so it's kind of like a commentary on like how, good intentions don't really mean shit. Like what really means shit is like at the end of the day, like what is actually accomplished and what responsibility is actually physically taken. Kind of like thoughts and prayers don't mean a fucking thing.
Right.
Donald Trump's dumbass in Puerto Rico fucking like throwing paper towels to people doesn't mean a fucking thing. When like
Right.
there's kids who are fucking like having like terrible respiratory issues because of black mold because none of the work was done to actually fix Puerto Rico. So in the same way, Hands Across America was like a charitable event in name only, and this kind of like almost like symbolic, like, self-masturbatory thing to like make Americans feel good, when it's like, we're like one of the wealthiest countries with one of the biggest like, homeless problems like in like the Western world. And so that's kind of like, this glaring kind of like duality there, and almost like this kind of like hollow bullshit of a gesture.
Joey, we never
but
got
I'm
your
just-
thoughts. What'd you think of the movie?
I liked it. I got to start with that. I don't know. I definitely enjoyed the film. Like you guys had brought up that a couple points that I didn't even think about. I saw it on Sunday, so I haven't had maybe as much time as you guys to really think about it. But like, I like the characters. I definitely think for the ending, I sort of had that in the back of my mind, like when the two girls met in the House of Mirrors, and sorry, blanking here. They met in the House of Mirrors, and then it like cuts, and so I was thinking that basically, kind of had in the back of my mind that like I think that's the shadow version of Adelaide, was like there the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought that the young boy was cool. I wanted to see like him to have maybe a couple more tricks.
He was a
'Cause he was
fucking
all-
weirdo. He
Yeah,
was such a little fucking
There's a
weirdo.
theory that he was also switched out
Yeah, I was
before
reading
the
that.
events of the movie.
Well, he was like, yeah, because they're talking about like the tricks and stuff. And he had his
Mm.
mask, but it would have been cool to see like a trick, and it's like, oh, well, this one doesn't work, so he just keeps messing with this one.
Wait. Compared to Get Out, which one's better in your opinion?
I think Get Out's probably better.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You know,
We're all in
definitely-
agreement on
definitely
that.
It's a tighter film. Like you guys had mentioned, this one's just kind of open ended. You don't really get to know what the what's going on, underground exactly, like how all that works. Yeah, and you kind of think about it. When you see the friends, when the friends doppelgangers come into play, like none of them talk. They just go straight to killing their like above ground versions. Where the Shadow Adelaide talks, which her voice is very fucked up, which you find out why towards the end of the film. And that was kind of another reason I was thinking to myself, like, that might be her at the end of the film. But yeah, I enjoyed watching it. It was good. Jordan Peele's doing some great shit, so I definitely want to see more.
They were
I mean,
saying
like,
that
it definitely-
basically.
it makes me stoked for the Twilight Zone shit that's coming.
Oh
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
They're saying that like basically the when Adelaide and I think Red is her name. Red has like a vendetta, so she wants to take her time. So that's why they don't.
Red is actually Adelaide, and like the one that came up from below is like Shadow Adelaide.
Right. So Shadow Adelaide slash. Well, yeah.
We'll just go.
It's getting confusing.
Yeah. We'll keep it as for the ending of the film. We'll call her Shadow Adelaide.
That's why she can talk. None of the other ones can talk because she was able to, and she hasn't used her vocal cords in a long time. I think that's the idea behind it. And the other guys have no vocal cord ability basically, and like they don't have a vendetta. The friends, so and the friends tethered version, so like they just kill them immediately.
Right. The reason her voice is messed up is because she was choked out, and it fucked up her vocal cords. That's why she talks like that.
Or she just hasn't had anyone to talk to for.
I mean that's true.
Many
But
years.
if you think about it, like the girl chokes her, and then she falls to the ground, and so that basically means
it's a little bit of both. And there's a lot of attacks to the throat too. I saw this in another video. It's symbolic of taking somebody's voice and shit like that. And it's like when you watch all these videos, man, it's like nothing is on accident in this movie. Like everything's really well thought out. Like they use scissors because scissors and the word tethered, like they're cutting themselves free and shit like that. Like I think that stuff is really cool.
I think it also kind of is like a commentary, a really big commentary on how like our lifestyle depends on like the suffering of others in the third world, like from everything to like our electronics to our groceries to our clothing, everything that we consume pretty much, like we don't really think about the human blood that is attached to it. And I think that this movie was definitely kind of commenting on that, like how like we're able to just, sit up with our fucking like Alexa speaker and like fucking like bitching about problems that don't really exist, drinking like champagne and shit, while like literally like all the shit that we have is like because of like these people that are kind of like living in this shadow world, be it, like whatever third world country like you want to name, and like they're like having to suffer for our benefit, just because of capitalism. Like I think this shit is like rife with so many like levels of like commentary on,
I get that commentary. For the film, were the underground, like the shadow people, were they providing anything for the?
No,
I don't think it's explained, but I assume it's like slave labor type of stuff or something.
Well,
I don't
it's
think
like
they're
they were
doing anything down there.
I think
Yeah,
their
that's
original
existing.
purpose was kind of like so the government could use them to physically control the populace. That was their original purpose.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Okay.
Which is like, that makes me think, well, if they're intended to physically control, like what kind of link do they have to people, and does that link, transfer a pregnancy, or that's that's the one thing that, is like really confusing me. But I mean, like you said, maybe it's just one of those things that you're supposed to suspend your disbelief and just take it at face value. But then it's just like, I feel like if you're going to do that on one hand, but then it's also laden with so much shit that was on purpose and like so much like commentary and like kind of like Easter eggs and shit, it's kind of funny that you have a movie that's like not telling you shit, but also telling you a lot of shit on the other hand,
Right.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I would like a rule book for the tethered and how all this works.
Exactly.
I need it.
I want to know,
Well, like I said, I think it's just because Get Out was so smart the way it handled everything. And what you're saying with all the little nods to everything that happens in the world and us to just like be like, well, it just happens because it happens. It's like, really, that's just kind of lazy, dude. Like,
yeah, because it's like you spent so much time giving us all these other messages, like you couldn't put even like a half of a little bow on the end of it. Like,
yeah. Just like a better explanation for the tethering.
When I left Get Out, I felt like I understood what happened completely, and I understood the point of it. And I think even leaving this movie, I don't even think, and it might be because of my white privilege or something, like I don't even think I got the whole privilege thing to begin with. Like I did pick up on the fact that we have like a well-to-do black family, and then you have people rising up that are obviously less well-to-do attacking them. I thought that was kind of like the social horror, the social aspect of the social horror genre that he's trying to do here. But I don't know. It didn't like fully click with me. Like I really had to go back and watch these YouTube videos to really kind of figure it out.
I think he wasn't necessarily touching on purely racial privilege so much as he was like kind of touching on like class privilege, where it's
Right.
it's like there might be like, you know, there might be some family in the suburbs and fucking like middle America who are like wonderful people volunteering, you know, at like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and donating to their local food kitchen, and they might have even voted for fucking Obama. They might even be down for like healthcare for all and like, you know, fucking like ending the war and all this shit. But it's like they are benefiting from a system that perpetuates itself kind of like in spite of, you know, like the victims of capitalism. So it's like pretty much like I think really what he was trying to talk about was this whole sense of like being culpable for some shit that you might that you like aren't directly involved in. So it's kind of like you're kind of like benefiting from some shit without really knowing the true costs of it, and that makes you, you know, just not just as culpable as the people perpetuating the evil, but it doesn't allow you to completely divorce yourself from it.
And then there's going to be a comeuppance, basically. That's essentially what he's trying to say.
Yeah, that kind of like what goes around comes around, and that even if you're not, you know, like even if you're not perpetuating the evil, like that doesn't spare you from the bad karma attached to directly benefiting from that evil.
I mean, I think about that shit a lot now. Recently, this is getting to a big topic. We got to end in 5 minutes. But anyway, like I think about that whenever like I went to go buy garlic and they have like the pre-peeled garlic, and I'm like, robot didn't do that shit, bro. That was fucking damn near slave labor doing that shit.
Yeah, someone got underpaid to do that.
Someone got underpaid to peel some fucking garlic, and I was like, I don't know if I want to take part in that. And then like I love Vans shoes. I'm a huge Vans fan. But like I know that their fucking base is in China, and that shit's probably not good, man. So like I feel like my next shoe purchase,
Nike is also terrible. Like,
I've known Nike was terrible, but it's like my beloved Vans also not without blame, you know. So it just kind of sucks. But
yeah, I mean it's that's kind of with anything in life now. You kind of have to like if you make a purchase, it's like, am I making a purchase? You know, you kind of have to think about it. Like what goes behind the making of this product that I'm purchasing? Do I back that, you know, the way that it's being made in China or, you know, Thailand or wherever, you know?
I mean, the one thing I kind of think about is it's like we don't need iPhone. Like we iPhones are great, but we don't need them to like keep existing, to like keep our heart beating. We don't need iPhones. We don't need computers. We don't need TVs. We don't need video games. Whatever. We just like love all that shit. That's why there's like this.
Hold your horses, Jared.
But it's like even the shit that we do need, like foodstuffs, a lot of that is so irresponsibly acquired. And even that shit, like vegetables and fucking avocados and quinoa and like all that type of shit is like directly kind of like pulling out of the mouth of like someone, you know, who's like being made by necessity to like, you know, work on these farms and give all their crops away to like a trader, or, you know, fucking like Whole Foods with their goddamn, like they were fucking ordering tomatoes from some company that literally had migrant workers locked up in U-Hauls working these farms to like get these like organically, you know, to get these like organic tomatoes. It's like even if you try to be a couple steps ahead of it, you could still end up, you know, being like part of some machine that's like, you know, involved in slave labor. And it's
right.
But then it's like, you know, the food is required for your survival. So how do you really, is there a way to fully divorce yourself from capitalism and from all the evils that come with it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question, but I do like the fact that even though this wasn't not even the director's best film, it's a movie that can get you to talk about this kind of stuff. And not a lot of movies do that, especially the ones that are like this popular, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, and like one thing I will say is like normally, you know, like director comes out with a banger like Get Out, like they would follow it up with something that's absolute trash, because it's like how do you follow up a great movie like that?
Yeah.
And it's like it's sick that like even though Us wasn't my favorite, it was at least at a level where, you know, like I can kind of see that like Jordan Peele came to play. Like he's not fucking around. Like, he's like yo, he's establishing himself as like a serious, you know, like genre director, and I'm here for it.
Shit, I saw all of Key and Peele and Keanu in the theater. I'm fucking down for Key and Peele any which way I can get it.
See, yeah, like I love Key and Peele. Keanu was too silly for me. So like,
Keanu was quite silly. It was very silly.
But like, I mean, there's even some sketches on Key and Peele though, like some of the more horror themed sketches that I could tell Jordan.
Oh, you can definitely see the horror sensibility in Key and Peele for sure.
It's so great. Like,
it's totally there. That shot, the opening shot of go ahead, sorry.
The one where there's like that terminally ill kid who's just literally like Satan incarnate, and he's just like fucking with the dude until his last breath. I'm like, that had Jordan all over it, you know?
Yeah. So we might have to do a part 2 of this, guys. I have to host a Japanese group right now, but let's do final thoughts real quick and indeeds. Go ahead, Maddie.
I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 indeeds. I did enjoy it. I think I definitely need a second and third watch just to take in everything that's happening. But yes, it is not. Jordan Peele is not in a sophomore slump, which is great. I'm glad that he brought another great film to the table that, I mean, we talked about fucking shit for 30 minutes about it, and some of us, you know, there's definitely something there, and I definitely need to explore it more.
Jared?
I would also give it 8 out of 10 indeeds, and I think maybe after some like Reddit deep dives and maybe another watch, it could be bumped up to 9.
Nice.
I thought Get Out was a 10. Get Out's one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen.
Right.
So I'm just really fucking excited to see what else is lurking in Jordan Peele's mind, you know? Like I consider myself a Jordan Peele fan now, and I'll probably be there for whatever he releases next.
All right, Joey?
I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 as well. I kind of want to do some deep dives as well. I've been working a lot since I saw the film, so I really haven't had a lot of time to sort of break it down. I enjoyed the movie. It definitely had a great tone to it. I can't wait to see what Jordan Peele has coming for us in the future, as far as like with Twilight Zone and various other things that he has going on. But yeah, 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5 myself.
Of course you would.
I'm a big fan, and I fucking love Jordan Peele, man. I actually saw him in person one time when I went for a G4 recording, if you remember that. I went to a taping of that. Anyway, Get Out is a 10. This is 8.5, maybe even 8.75 for me. Who knows if I'm feeling good this day. But yeah, that's it. I've already queued up our outro song. Catch us on Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff. We'll hopefully do a part 2 of this, maybe even a deeper dive if it warrants that. Hate to cut this short, guys, but I'm already late. There's probably people waiting on me. Any other shout-outs before we head out of here?
Nah.
We're playing Sekiro, and we'll have reviews on that.
Oh fuck! I need to get that game, man. Even though like I haven't been able to get through Bloodborne. Bloodborne with ninjas sounds fucking dope,
dude. It's pretty amazing. And also, Ben and I, and anybody can join us, but Ben and I want to talk about Zack Snyder's comments on Batman killing. We can't let that slide. So
also, before we dip out, both you guys should check out that list that I just did, because that Dicing Night game is something I think that you would enjoy if you want like Sekiro mixed with Link to the Past.
Yeah, it looks
Sounds
just
good.
like a oh man, almost getting us blocked here, bro. All right, so we'll check you later.
Yeah, later.
Right. Peace.
What's up?
So
Hold on,
Can we not see you?
Hold up a second. Let's let the song play out. Sorry.
Oh. I don't know.